You walk into class, you've got, I don't know, philosophy, math, something horrible or awesome. You're walking to class along the path, maybe your music in, minding your own business, and suddenly you see another student like hurtling towards you like 100 miles an hour, and you're like, you get that jump of adrenaline, you're like, you leap to the side, and suddenly they're still heading towards you, and you're like, how is this possible? And they screech to a stop, and they like get off their longboard, they're like, sorry, and they hop back on, and they just get away. You may have experienced this, and that person is me. I'm sorry for that little experience, but tonight I'd like to educate you all about longboarding because it's a kind of a passion of mine and many others. It's a little mysterious, so a lot of people don't know too much about it. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to broaden your horizons in this genre. First, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the history of longboarding, how it came to be, how it happened, like where did it all come from. I didn't even know until a couple days ago when I had the idea to write this speech, and I looked it up, and I was pleased with what I found. Next, I'm going to talk about longboarding, how it evolves into just longboarding, and the three main categories that if you can fall into if you practice the sport. And finally, I'm going to talk about longboarding today, and how it's changed a lot and is very utilizable in our daily lives. So, the history of longboarding. Longboarding began around 1959-ish in Hawaii, on an island, the island of Oahu. People there would surf. Surfing comes from Hawaii originally, and there'd be days when the waves weren't that great, so people had the idea to longboard. Originally, longboarding or skateboarding was called sidewalk surfing. You might have heard that term. That's what it was called. They literally just manhandled boards, and they used roller skate wheels, and they put them on, and they would ride them around. And it wasn't until 1959 itself that it became marketable, and they still had these wooden things with those, and they used metal wheels, and it was really, really dangerous. Like, metal wheels slide all over the place. So they were like, this isn't working. So they switched to clay, which is a little better, but as you might know, clay cracks. So it would still be dangerous. So longboarding kind of fell out, and then came back in the 70s, where it was really popular. And then it kind of fell out in the 80s again, and came back in the 90s with, you might know, Tony Hawk. He's a skater. And it's basically become a lot bigger in today's age. As you might have noticed, I'm wearing the traditional garb of a longboarder or a skateboarder. The Vans, which help you grip more, shorts because pants are crazy when you're longboarding, hat, keep my hair out of my eyes, and because a lot of people wear them, and the black shirts so people don't have to see how sweaty you get going to class. Yeah. So this is literally what I wear like on the day-to-day basis when I'm doing it. So there are three different categories of longboarding. There's downhill or speed longboarding, there's cruising or carving, and then there's freestyle or dancing. That's a lot to throw at you right now. It's a lot of terms, but it's really simple when you go through them. Downhill or speed is exactly what it sounds like. You go find the biggest hill you can find, you get on your longboard, and you just go straight down. And you try to be okay. People wear, don't worry, people wear knee pads, elbow pads, etc., helmet, everything. So if you fall, you're fine. But if you know what you're doing, you usually don't fall, and it's just really fun. This is not really a beginner longboard thing. It's kind of hard, it's kind of crazy, I've done a little, but the thing I like more is cruising or carving. It sounds a lot more pleasant, and it is. It's slower, you kind of just leisurely roll along, and you go slower speed. And this is what I do every day when I'm on my way to class. It's really enjoyable and it's really fun. And that one is great because it's so easy and so good for a beginner to get into. The third category is not. It's very, very difficult. It's called freestyle or dancing. And it's literally doing tricks on the board while you're cruising along. So you can do a 180, or you can do like literally steps and stuff. I can't do it. It's really, really hard. But it's really fun to watch. So if you go on YouTube and look it up, longboard dancing, it's really cool. So longboarding has fallen into those three categories mainly. But there's a fourth category that's kind of emerged presently. And now I'm going to talk about longboarding today. Longboarding today has evolved into community. That is exactly what it sounds like. That's the students longboarding to class. That's people longboarding to work. If you want to go get something to eat, hop on your longboard. It's a great thing that's developed, and I love it. And I'm going to tell you why. One, it's fun. You boarding in class. Walking's okay when you got headphones, but boarding is better. So you can just have a good time boarding at whatever your speed. Two, it's insanely fast. You get to class so much faster. I get to class maybe 2 or 3 times faster than I would if I just walked. And finally, it's eco-friendly. It's totally green, it's like your bike or your scooter, and it's easier to carry around. On the whole, longboarding has become very useful, and that's why people who don't exactly partake in streaming down a hill going crazy, or doing crazy tricks on a longboard can actually start to get into it. So that's how longboarding can really affect you and change your life. I'm not like telling you to go out and buy a longboard, but another thing I want to stress is that a lot of people have a negative stigma about longboarders. They think, oh, why are they longboarding? They're being lazy. Why are they not walking like the rest of us? And I say, no, I'm being efficient. So it's a little bit better. And also, just understand that longboarding is kind of a sport, and that we are not heartless people. In the story, I stepped to the right for a reason, because a lot of people jump out of the way of longboarders. And I want to make a public service announcement to all of you. Tell your friends, if a longboarder is longboarding in class, we know what we're doing, we will not hit you, and if we're going to run into you and there's no way, we will stop. I promise you. Because we don't want to run into you either. That's painful for both of us. So I hope you've all learned a lot about longboarding, and will use that knowledge to your lives.
I will say, downhill skating is not a beginner sport. I've learned that with 13 stitches and a dislocated elbow.